I, 17F, don't like my stepmom, 52F, and I need to fix that. When I was 12, my mother passed away from complications of the flu. My dad, 54N, was left with 4 kids to raise on his own. I am the oldest and my younger siblings are currently 8F, 9M, and 10M. They were 3, 4, and 5 at the time. My dad was overwhelmed and very busy after it happened, and because I was the oldest and was the only one who understood what was going on, I stepped up. It has been my job since to make sure the younger ones got out of bed on time, make sure they ate breakfast, make sure they were ready to go to the bus stop on time, help my sister with her hair in the morning, make sure there was something on the table for the little ones to eat if my dad couldn't make it home for dinner, make sure they're in bed at their bedtimes, etc. I never felt bad for what I had to do. I always felt like I was doing my part in the new family unit to keep everything running. I didn't think anything of it. I was doing what needed to be done. I was still allowed a social life and got time with friends outside of school when I wanted to. Obviously, I just had more responsibility. My dad first started dating my stepmom 3 years ago and they have been together since. My dad asked us kids if we would be okay with him dating, and we all gladly gave our permission because he deserved to be happy again. They got engaged last winter and got married at the beginning of the summer, with our blessing. After they were married, she officially moved in and I've hardly been able to stand her even though I used to like her. She has stepped in and started helping out on all my household duties and managing the younger ones. When I wake up for school in the morning, I come downstairs now to see that she has already gotten the little ones out of bed and has breakfast on the table. I haven't had to make anyone a single meal. No more driving my siblings to their friends' houses. I know she is trying to be helpful and I am happy that I'll be able to go away to college next year knowing that my siblings will be taken care of. But I feel like my toes are being stepped on and my position in the family is being taken away from me and it makes me detest her. On top of that, seeing her make herself at home in the bedroom my mom and dad once shared and drink coffee from mugs I remember my mom using makes my blood boil. I make a point to spend as little time around her as possible. Since she's moved in, I've been cold and oftentimes cruel to her. I know I can't detest her forever, she is my stepmom after all and she's not going anywhere. What makes the situation more infuriating is I know I'm being irrational. She's a kind woman who treats my dad and siblings well. I have no reason to dislike her as much as I do. I've tried to force myself to like her but it won't work. Is there anything I can do to try and get over this intense dislike of her? Too long didn't read. I have an intense, irrational dislike of my stepmom and I know I need to get over it. I don't know how to go about doing that, though. It is very mature of you to realize your feelings are unfair and irrational and want to work on them. I'm impressed. First, I think you should ask your father if you could see a therapist. Tell him you are struggling with the new family dynamic, the change in your role, and this has also brought up new feelings about losing your mom. That you'd really appreciate the help of a professional to work through them. Lots of people have irrational and harmful feelings they need to deal with and it's much of what therapy is for. Second, if you like doing some of those things you could ask/offer to do them occasionally. It's unfair for a child to be put in the position to have to be a parent and do all the things you did. So your dad and stepmom are trying to take that burden off your shoulders. However, there is a difference between having to make dinner and wanting to make it sometimes, or having to drive your siblings around and wanting to have some time with them sometimes. Talk to your dad and stepmom. Tell them stepmom has really stepped up around the house and you've noticed all her hard work. Trying to phrase things without the word appreciate, since you don't seem to. However, you miss doing some of those things and would like to make a schedule so you can still do some of them sometimes. For example, maybe you and your younger siblings could make a special breakfast together every Sunday. Or Wednesday could be your night to make dinner. Or you can still give the kids rides sometimes. Think about exactly what you wish you could still do and how often, so that it becomes occasional quality time and not an obligation for you. As a stepmom, this cuts steep. So sorry you are feeling this way. You sound like an amazing young woman and should be very proud of yourself and your ability to recognize the situation for what it is. The statement you wrote is very well written. I suggest you ask your dad and stepmom to have a private conversation. I find personally it's easier to have hard conversations when going for a walk. It helps you have something to do and also avoids awkward eye contact the whole time. But do it how makes you feel most comfortable. Read them your Reddit post, and apologize to your stepmom for your behavior. Ask them if you can start therapy so that you can try to work through this and repair the relationship, and grieve your mother. Maybe suggest some small things that might make you feel better, new mugs as suggested above, and put aside special keepsakes. Maybe they should change the furniture in the master bedroom or paint it a different color. Have a think about what you think would help you. Or maybe wait to discuss with your therapist. It sounds like your stepmother wants to give you your childhood back, and really cares for you all. Believe me when I say you reading this to her will probably give her so much relief. She, I am sure, realizes you are struggling but doesn't know how to help you. Knowing this information will help all of you to build a happy relationship and move forward in a way that respects your mother but also your stepmother. Be very proud of yourself, but also speak up so that you can get the help and life changes you need. It sounds like there is a lot of love in your family and it just takes a while to work out the dynamics in such a complex situation. Big hugs. Look forward to the update and also feel free to DM me anytime. My stepkids are teenagers and I've been around for 3 years so I can relate to the situation a lot. You sound like an amazing young woman who had to grow up before her time. I bet your stepmom 100% has you in her mind when she does these things. She wants to unburden you and allow you to have time back to yourself. Why don't you suggest a one-to-one coffee/lunch? Then you can explain that you appreciate what she is doing but you got self-worth from those tasks. Maybe suggest a compromise. You take care of the mornings a day or 2 of the week. You make dinner every Friday. You read with the kids before bed. That way you are keeping some of your role but allowing her to grow and take over some as well. You sound like you're doing your best, so do cut yourself a bit of slack. It is a terrifically difficult adjustment. Maybe you can try to take some of the tasks back that make you feel particularly close or bonded with your siblings. If there was a certain breakfast or routine that you really liked, tell her and your dad that you plan on continuing it. You've got a chance now to make a choice about what your role in the family is, rather than having to do the work because the work had to be done. Approach this with your stepmom and dad as a choice, and talk about the things you want to be doing with your siblings, or as a family. Your stepmom is trying to free you to be a teenager. You can appreciate that, but also use some of your freedom to decide what sort of big sister you want to keep on being. In time, you might be able to help her make some changes around the house that will help you hold on to the good memories, but remove triggers like any plain old mugs that aren't sentimental, and aren't helpful. Having your blessings, and your knowledge about what can be changed and what might be hurtful to alter might be very, very welcome to her. For a lot of the rest of this, therapy might help the most. On your own at first, then maybe with her and your dad as well. I can understand why you are feeling this way. At least you realize that your feelings are irrational. Ask your dad if you can get into therapy. This post is both today I fucked up and concise. I bet you could read it to the both of them, and they would understand how you are feeling. You could make some immediate changes to help you feel more comfortable. For example, new mugs. Have a yard sale and get rid of some things, but also put things away that you feel strongly about in a keepsake box for you and your siblings. Best wishes and big hugs to you. I know what it's like to have a parent die as a kid. My Sil, 28F, is constantly in competition with me, 24F, and this time it's gone too far. What should I do? So a little background, my husband and I have been married for 4 years, together for 8. I've also known Sil for 8. We had our first child right out of high school and now have 3 kids together, 4, 5, and 1. Sil is a few years older so she was having kids at the same time we were and all of our children are around the same age. which is great because they have awesome relationships. We always had a pretty good relationship for the most part. We bonded over many shared interests and motherhood as our kiddos were young, and I never thought anything was amiss. Fast forward to a little over a year ago, things started to get a little weird. It seemed like anytime my kids made an accomplishment of some sort, she was mad about it if the kids weren't already doing it. Right before I had my daughter, I was potty training our then 2.5-year-old. Her 3-year-old was not yet trained, and she kept telling me there's no way he will be able to at 2.5, they usually aren't ready, but I had done it with my older son at that age and it worked great. My middle son did just fine and she hated it. I could tell because she would constantly ask if he was regressing. Besides our kids, she started doing this with other things too. She would be sure to mention if her husband got a raise, if they got something new, if they were going somewhere, etc. At this point I had kind of stopped talking to her a lot because it was always, we're doing this, we got this, just constantly throwing stuff around, and then she would ask intrusive questions about our lives for comparison. I always let this stuff roll off my back when we did talk because besides this we get along well and I didn't want to cause issues. Tried my best to never play into it and just keep it surface level. Plus we live very close in a small town, so it's not like I can really get away. Also our family does get-togethers weekly. That's just a few examples of the many things, and for the sake of length I'll skip to what's happening now. About a year ago I became seriously interested in photography and pursuing it as a career. My husband was doing well at work, so I was able to quit my part-time after having our daughter and be a stay-at-home mom and ponder my dream a little more. About 6 months ago I got serious and invested in the proper gear. After many free shoots and lots of practice, things just kind of randomly took off. 5 months ago I registered as an official business and started getting pretty busy, and it's been amazing. I have a true passion for it and I love it so much. On our yearly family cabin vacation about 3 weeks ago, Sil asked if I had anyone who would be working weddings with me. I'm starting to book them for 2021. I told her not yet, as I'm still working on networking with others in the industry and shadowing weddings for another month. She joked that making a little cash here and there second shooting with me would be fun, and I laughed along and, not wanting to be rude, said yeah, that could be fun. She started asking me lots of questions about cameras and how much they are. A good starter camera will run about $1,000, so I told her if you're serious, you can use my second camera to get practice in and see if it's something you like. I didn't hear from her for a few days and then saw she had went and gotten herself a camera and a few lenses. She began asking me lots of questions about settings and editing, to which I gave her lots of advice and I helped her a little with getting to know her camera. She said on multiple occasions she would never do this as a business and it's just for fun and maybe doing weddings with me. Fast forward to this morning, she had posted on her FB about how she may be looking to run mini sessions soon and was putting out feelers to see if anyone was interested. This is when I started to get a little upset. Reddit, I know many people do the same things and I'm by no means saying I'm the only photographer allowed here. Just feels like every time I get a little successful at something, she loves to try and take it from me. And I feel like this could get weird with family too. They will all feel super conflicted about who to go to. Not to mention she just got her camera and with little experience wants to charge people money. I guess my question is, how do I even go about handling this? I would be lying if I said I didn't feel like she is overstepping. Things are going to be super weird now and I know I cannot control what she chooses to do, but how do I not build up resentment about this? She has a tendency to play the victim role too, so I know if I said anything it might not end well. I feel like things were just getting better too. What would you do? Too long didn't read. I have a mildly successful photography business. Sil is starting one now too. I, 20F, think I gave it up too quick for a guy I like, 21M. I have slept with this guy a few times now, mainly because I have a really big crush on him. We know each other through mutual friends and I took the first opportunity I had to sleep with him because I thought it was the only way I could get close to him. Pathetic, yes. I like him so much and could see myself with him, and I think he likes me too based off his demeanor around me. But he's said he's not ready for the commitment yet because of a busy lifestyle. I honestly don't see him as the type to be talking to heaps of other girls, but then again could be wrong. Was I wrong in sleeping with him so fast, or should I just keep sleeping with him and see where it goes, or let it go and move on before I hurt myself? Too long didn't read. sleeping with my crush which may or may not be reciprocated, and I need advice on where to go from here. Update: I didn't expect this many responses, thanks. I have read most of them and I have really realized that I came across wrong. It's not necessarily that I want a relationship with this guy either. We both went in with the same casual intentions. I just fear that he's actually talking and getting to know other girls in a relationship kind of way. But when that goes to shit, he's got me as his easy way out. Makes sense. That's not what I agreed to, and I'm going to talk to him about it next time. Thank you everyone, smile.